Victoria Lee. I am a certified hypnotherapist offering 100% remote hypnotherapy services, which can be accessed all over the world. So if you'd like to book a free consultation with me to learn how hypnotherapy can help you, you can do so through my website, victorialeehypnosis.com. I'd love to work with you. So for today's topic, I'm so excited. We are talking about timeline jumping. I've been wanting to talk about this for quite a while. It's one of the most exciting topics in this realm, and I'm so stoked to share with you everything that I've been thinking and the information I've been collecting, and just this is such an exciting topic. It's so creative, and it's such a way to encapsulate the process of taking back your agency in life, your creative agency. And hypnotherapy is such a powerful tool to use in timeline jumping. So before we start, I don't know, let's get cozy. I feel like I kind of just jump right in a lot of the time, and I want to be a little bit more personable and cozy, and just like I want it to feel like we're just hanging out, because I love my clients. I love my followers. Like, y'all are so awesome. And when you write to me and talk to me on social media, you always have such interesting questions, and I just love interacting with you. So I don't know. Today I'm drinking some tea. I drink tea every single time I record. And I'm actually drinking Buddha teas. They have a CBD line, which is CBD, if you don't know, it's the non-psychoactive cannabinoid, which is just like very, very chill. It doesn't get you stoned or anything. And mine actually has adaptogenic herbs in it. I drink adaptogenic herbs. I kind of sip adaptogenic herbal tea all day long. Adaptogenic herbs are just herbs that provide adrenal support and just keep you very, very chill. And I love that. We love chill over here at Victoria Lee Hypnosis. So that's what I'm drinking today as I talk to you. So go ahead if you want, make a cup of tea, get yourself cozy, and let's talk. Let's talk about this. So timeline jumping, it might be a little self-explanatory, but it's basically when you jump from one timeline, one trajectory that you're on to another, right? It's quite simple, and we do it all the time, every day, whether we're conscious of it or not. Every little choice that we make throughout our day, consciously or unconsciously, kind of puts us on or keeps us on a timeline, right? A timeline of events. And any given event or choice at any given time can shift our trajectory, our timeline. And so I did want to make a distinction really quickly, because there's a lot of talk about this sort of thing in New Age communities, and they use language like quantum jumping or like anything with quantum. Like, I just want to make it abundantly clear that I am not a STEM person, STEM meaning science, technology, engineering, and math. I will never claim to understand quantum anything, ever. As interesting as it is for me to read, I feel like a lot of New Age folks love to jump on the quantum language train and act like they understand these really complex theories, principles, ideas about quantum physics. And let's leave that to the STEM people, okay? Like, no hate to New Agers, maybe a little, but I want you, if you identify as New Age, I understand your intentions are good. I want you to just Google New Age to white supremacy pipeline. Okay? I want to spread the knowledge that people who are spiritual and into less conventional, even though it's growing in popularity, sure, but people who are into spirituality, we're not all New Age. People who are New Age are spiritual, but not everyone who is spiritual is New Age. And so I wanted to make that distinction. You know, there's a whole there are multitudes of different spiritual paths, New Age being one of them, and there are a lot of really harmful ideas being passed around in New Age circles. For example, with like law of attraction and manifestation culture, there's a lot of talk about like, got to keep your vibe high so you can manifest all this stuff. And if you're not manifesting, then you're doing it wrong and your vibe is low and all this. And it's like, first of all, the human experience itself is a wide sphere of emotions and experiences, like both positive and negative, even though I wouldn't even go as far as to say they're positive and negative, but happiness, joy, despair, grief, sadness, anger, excitement. You know, there's this whole big, vast range of emotions that we're meant to feel. We're meant to feel all of it. That's part of being human. And so I don't want any of you to let anybody make you feel bad if you're experiencing quote unquote negative emotions and like you're not vibing high enough. Like that's bullshit, just straight up. And that's not what we're doing here. It's not like this linear thing. It's also what manifestation and law of attraction culture fails to address most of the time is that a person's ability, like his manifestation itself is real. I hate using that word because of the connotations, but like manifestation is a real thing. Sure. Yes, it is. However, a person's manifestations are going to vary greatly based on their sphere of influence. And your sphere of influence is the range of things in your life that you have any modicum of control over. And that is going to vary based on your level of privilege or lack thereof. Okay? So just food for thought. I just want to be very, very clear when I'm talking about any of this stuff. I'm not claiming to know anything about quantum physics, quantum anything. I'm not a STEM person. I'm also not promoting an idea that if you can't manifest something, then you're not vibing high enough. Like, no, fuck that. It's going to vary. It's going to look different for every single one of us. And you're not any less powerful or effective or just you're not a bad person or bad at manifesting, quote unquote, if you have bad days and you're experiencing depression or grief or anything like that. Like we're here to be human and to feel the whole range of emotions. So don't just go through your normal human processes and just allow yourself to feel the depths that you're meant to feel. Okay? If you're struggling, it doesn't mean anything bad about you. That's my point. Okay, so I digress. Let's get back on track. So, timeline jumping. I've been wanting to talk about this forever. So timeline jumping is when we plant seeds in our life and in our consciousness for the future. Because the future is completely malleable at any given time. It really is. Even when we feel stuck in a rut, which depression and grief and things like that really can make us feel like that, and it can make us feel like, well, this is the way it is and everything sucks and blah, blah, blah. I'm telling you, no matter how bad it can seem at any given time, your future is malleable. You have so much more creative agency over your life and over your future than you're giving yourself credit for. And so it just takes patience, right? And how do we timeline jump? What is the process, right? Part of it is just being present with ourselves. And the way that we can become more present with ourselves on a day-to-day basis is by cultivating a meditation practice or a mindfulness practice, right? Where we're really allowing ourselves to drop into our bodies and notice the qualities and the sensations of the things that we are experiencing in everyday life. And it's kind of like giving ourselves a chance to notice the parts of our lives and ourselves that we've really identified with, and then kind of making it a conscious effort to detach from who we've been and stop identifying with the parts of ourselves that we desire to change, right? And this does involve shadow work. It involves going within and holding space for the parts of ourselves that still benefit from and even love those parts of ourselves that we want to change. For example, procrastination. Just one example. Because this applies to habits. This applies to keeping ourselves small and not being outgoing in life. This has to do with defense mechanisms in our relationships that we picked up in childhood mostly. The things we consume, whether that's cigarettes, drugs, alcohol, food, etc. But for this example, let's just talk about procrastination. So say there's this project you've been wanting to start, or you want to go for this new career path, or anything like that requires action, but you've been procrastinating, right? The reason that you continually procrastinate is because there's a part of you subconsciously that really deeply loves and benefits from procrastinating or staying exactly where you are, right? Maybe you need, some rest. Like maybe a part of you needs rest. Like maybe a part of you is still attached to something about your current story or position in life, right? And there's nothing to be ashamed of about that. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just about allowing yourself to go within and show appreciation for and hold space for that part of yourself that still benefits from and loves that situation that you're clinging to, right? And you can do this cognitively. It's harder and it goes a lot slower to do it cognitively, right? With like journaling or just being conscious of it and talking yourself through it. Like it's possible, but hypnotherapy and really allowing yourself to go deep within the subconscious mind, right? And even have a conversation with the part of yourself that is clinging to any of these given behaviors, right? That's something that can be done in a hypnosis session. Is we can go within your subconscious and we can have a conversation with the part of yourself that still loves this behavior, right? And that's going to give you a chance to hold space for that and to listen. And, you can kind of think of it like ghosts with unfinished business, right? I love that analogy. It's like these parts of ourselves are like ghosts with unfinished business. And we can go within during this work and allow these shadow parts of ourselves an opportunity to finish their business, tie up loose ends, and move on and heal. And I love to think of it like that because it's exactly like that. Shadow work is such a huge part of timeline jumping because once you address and then process whatever is keeping you stuck, all this new energy is freed up in this time to create and to be proactive about your future rather than staying where you are. I love it. I love it so much. So also your sensory experience has so much to do with timeline jumping. So if you're really trying to timeline jump and make changes and, kind of quickly get yourself onto a new path, change up your sensory experience. It might seem mundane, but honestly, that's where the magic is. It's in the details. We want to shift your whole headspace. And a way to do that is with your sensory experience. So smells, especially smells. Memory is so deeply attached to your olfactory system, right? So for example, I have scented candles that I only light when I'm working. And I have some scented candles that I only light when I'm relaxing, etc., because we form subconscious associations with these sensory experiences, and that changes our headspace, right? And when we change our headspace, we change our direction itself. We really do. And this is why hypnotherapy is so powerful for timeline jumping. So whether someone cognitively really, regardless of what a person comes into hypnotherapy for, every single person who comes to do hypnotherapy is timeline jumping, whether they know they're doing it or not, because timeline jumping, again, is just making a change. Anyone seeking to make a significant change in their life, in themselves, is timeline jumping, right? And hypnotherapy is such a powerful way to really expedite that process, because we're not just working on the cognitive level when we do hypnotherapy, right? We are going deep. We are working with the subconscious associations and shifting those associations to create something brand new, to release something old, and to free up energy and mental space to create something new and to be proactive and going after what you really want. That's why hypnotherapy is such a powerful tool when it comes to timeline jumping. And so other ways that you can shift your experience with timeline jumping include, maybe listening to newer music that you haven't listened to much before and kind of phasing out the older music, because music is like spells. It really is. Like music can really keep you in the same kind of loop and the same rut that you've been in for a long time. If you keep listening to the same stuff, especially if there's an emotional charge attached to it, it's really good to change up what you're listening to just change up your trajectory and your timeline, your headspace, right? It has such a profound effect. Even changing up your look. Like if you don't have the funds for new clothes, for example, you can update your existing clothes if you know how to sew. I mean, that's what I always did growing up, especially when I was younger. Honestly, I still do that because I love to DIY my clothes when I get bored of them. It's fun for me and it keeps them out of landfills, etc. But, changing up your hair, trying a new hairstyle, changing up the scents that you wear, trying new makeup looks or anything like that, getting new tattoos, like any kind of body modification. It's these like markers that symbolize the start of a new timeline, right? These are all little fragments, like little pieces that actually create huge transformation and changing up your timeline and changing up and switching over to a new era of your life, right? And so this can be achieved, in hypnotherapy, it can be achieved much faster. And the beautiful thing is, when you do hypnotherapy, like when I did hypnotherapy several years ago, I did it for, I think I did between 6 to 8 sessions during one period, right? And I did it I focused on releasing old childhood trauma that was keeping me stuck in relationships that were not good for me, right? I did talk about this story in a past episode. I think it's episode 2, how hypnotherapy can transform your life. I talk about it in greater detail, but that period of time when I allowed myself to do this deep subconscious work, the benefits that I experienced after the fact, I mean, I'm still experiencing them. This was in 2018 that I did this hypnotherapy, right, with my hypnotherapist. I'm still experiencing the benefits today. And that is because when you work at the deep subconscious level with hypnotherapy, these changes are fundamental. They are part of your mainframe, right? They're a part of your fundamental wiring, your subconscious programming, and they change your whole life script. And so the timeline that you can cultivate, like, this is just planting the seeds. This is creating the foundation, right? The benefits are long lasting, even permanent, right? Once you shift the programming, you're shifting essentially like the roots of the tree, right? Like, pretend you're a tree. The subconscious is the roots, right? And so when you go in and you kind of shift and you heal those roots, like some of them might not be doing so well, some of them might be kind of sick, right? When you heal these roots, you might be aiming for just 1 or 2 of these branches over here, but you don't understand that these roots, when you heal these roots, they benefit the whole tree. They benefit all these other branches and these leaves and these blossoms over here, and you didn't even realize that all of this is connected. And so that is why hypnotherapy can benefit your life in ways that you didn't even dream of before, because of how intricately everything is woven together and how those things come out and manifest in your everyday life in ways that you don't even think about consciously, right? And that's why timeline jumping and hypnotherapy, they go hand in hand. They're so exciting. Making the little changes and having the patience, planting the seeds. If you just work on being consistent, again, it's made much easier with hypnotherapy because it takes a lot of that mental effort out for you. Like, you're not struggling so much to make these changes because you have, it's kind of wired in your subconscious now. It's more automatic and you're putting in less effort for greater reward, right? For greater results. And so you become more and more proactive towards this path, this new path, rather than fighting with yourself and playing this tug of war with yourself. There's not this resistance anymore. You have this outpouring, this energetic pull forward, this trajectory into this new timeline of whatever that looks like for you, whatever it is that you want to create, right? And so this is part 1. I'm going to be expanding on this in another episode. I'm really excited to share more next week, but I just wanted to give an intro to timeline jumping. And I would really love to hear your thoughts. I would love to hear your questions and anything at all that you'd like to add or ask me or anything at all. Please, you can reach me on Instagram at Victoria Lee Hypnosis. My TikTok is the same, at Victoria Lee Hypnosis. Again, if you'd like to book a one-on-one hypnotherapy session with me, I do offer one-off sessions and session packages to save you money and so that you can do it consistently enough to get real, lasting, even permanent results. You can book a free consultation at my website, victorialeehypnosis.com. Thank you for listening. This has been Hypno Witch. If you don't mind giving me a nice 5-star rating and promoting it, like telling your friends about it, whatever you feel like doing, all of it helps. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time. All right. Bye.